Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chronicle. Um, oh yeah, I forgot my little intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chronicle, where everything is the same and nothing ever changes. Except not really, but like that's kind of what it feels like. Let's start with the goals. I think we should do that because that's what we do. Oh wait, hold on, let me flip to the right page in my journal. Okay. Yeah, so the goals. The big goal to lock in, not I put an in progress on it. It didn't really go how I wanted, but I've got a lot to talk about with that. So let's go for the easier ones first. I want to say the two right here are piano and guitar catch up. Did not do any guitar catch up. Did do a little bit of piano catch up. I'm pretty much almost done with that, which is good. I labbed out some of the chords that I need to do and learn. It wasn't that hard. I kind of knew that it wasn't. It's just that I never got around to it because it took like actual thought. And like nowadays, like the piano that I'm doing feels like it doesn't, which is like kind of a weird thing to say because especially because I'm at such a high level now. But it's like we were learning not necessarily piano skills, but just like music skills in general. So at the end of every week when I come home, if someone were to ask, "What'd you learn today?" I wouldn't be able to play it for you because I didn't learn a song. But yeah, what else is on there? That's it actually. The one way up here is to make a song in GarageBand. I'll do that. I will, or no, wait. I will work on that next week. I probably won't make like a whole song, but I'll work on it. But I'm pretty sure I've said before I'm not very good at like creating music. I'm just very good at playing it. Um, which is why I want to be a session musician, ideally. But like, how the heck am I gonna do that? I don't know. Um, yeah, so I'll work on that. That goal is gonna be either that goal is gonna be either in progress or checked off next week, guarantee. And I'm saying that because yesterday I wrote down on my journal that I was gonna work on the main objective today, and I did. And we'll talk about that after we get a rest through the rest of this. I did actually smell my oils a couple times this week, and then I have been reading the Action Bible still. Um, so yeah, those are going good in progress. Still have not completed. I'm trying to line my hand up with it. Still have not completed. Gosh darn, I'm right there. These two, which are to get 4 practices in a week on each instrument, like I'm supposed to. Because technically, I don't think it's like this anymore. But technically, in the past, as a kid, because that's usually like my teacher students are usually kids. And like if you don't practice enough your instrument, piano, kick you out. I don't think it's like that anymore, but I don't know because I can still boy can I play, boy can I play. Just the other day, I figured out the minor blues scale in F. Well, I didn't figure that out. I remembered it, and then I figured it out in B flat as well. But it's whatever. And I think that's all the goals. Yeah, let me talk about the lock-in goal. So before I started recording this, because I didn't want to show up, I did not want to show up today and be like, guys, it's another week where I didn't do anything, and I'm no closer to the main objective than I was last week. Even though I was supposed to go to bed, um, I'll talk about that in a moment. Um, yeah, but I didn't want to log in today and then be like, guys, I did nothing all week because I pretty much did. I was like, oh, I'll just wait until the weekend. Then the weekend came and I was like, but these video games are so fun. Because Silk Song, Hollow Knight Silk Song released earlier this week, and also Helldivers got a massive update earlier this week. So I've got two really fun games that I really want to play. So I've just been doing that all throughout the week, and I was like, okay, on the weekend I'll lock in and I'll do some adult stuff, and then I just played more video games. So what I did before I recorded this was I was like, let me do some Google searching to try and find jobs or careers or look into things, because like that's what I mean. Pretty much when I say look into something, like look into college, I'm just gonna look on the college's website and maybe like schedule a tour, send an email. In the journal, I do talk about an email that I sent to a college earlier this week. Um, but yeah, so I was looking actually at jobs on Indeed today, and a couple fairly high paying ones were warehouse jobs, which is good because I work in a warehouse. I work in a factory. I have warehouse experience. And like I was looking also at jobs for being like on a boat, like a maritime job. One of them was able seaman, which is, and like the job description was like, you're gonna be on a boat, you're gonna be operating the boat stuff, you might be hanging off the side of the boat, you might be scraping, painting, priming, moving stuff, and I was like, that looks really cool. And then there were qualifications though, and I was like, oh, I don't know what that really weird. It was like, imagine a random string of numbers and letters certification. It was like, you need this certification. I'm like, I don't know what that is or how to get it. And also, if I wanted to have a maritime job, I'd have to move out to the East Coast or West Coast, or I don't know, the South Coast. Anyway, uh, yeah. So it's like I don't know what that certification is or how to get it. I could Google it, but like I said, I gotta do one thing before I do the other thing, right? I get ahead of myself with these Google searches. I'm like, oh, this job looks cool. This job looks cool. And it's like, wait, I can't. A maritime job? You live in Kansas, the second most landlocked state in the entire country. Which I really thought it would be the first. Turns out the first is Nebraska, which I want to say is directly above us, maybe one state over. But yeah, so it's like, how are you going to get your certification in becoming a seaman when you live in Kansas? You know what I'm saying? So then I looked on Indeed. I completed a resume there, and then I looked at jobs nearby. There were some in Lenexa, which I've said I like Lenexa so much. And like they were starting in the minimum at like $18, which is pretty good. Because I make like around there right now. Um, See, I was withholding it because I didn't want to share it with my coworkers. It was like, oh my gosh, what if my coworkers find out? Because I know at one point, one of my coworkers was really trying really hard to figure out how much I make. But I didn't tell her because I don't like her that much. Um, but yeah, that's why I withheld that information. But it's really not a big deal. But yeah, so there were warehouse jobs that were offering tuition reimbursement, which to me sounds like free college. You know what I like? College. You know what I want to do? Go to college. That's the goal. Yeah, so and like I was thinking, just as a thing for fun, I could go to one of those places that offer tuition reimbursement. I could get more degrees because I have a degree in general studies, but I could also get a degree in liberal arts and science. I think it just says associates in science. I could get those both from JCCC, which means one, it'll be affordable, and two, it'll probably be free from the tuition reimbursement. So I just like learning things. If I'm being honest, I just like going to college. I like being in college. I like getting that degree. I like that degree on my wall. I like that degree. I like it a lot. It was a lot of fun getting it too, right? Because it's like especially because I was majoring in general studies, it just felt like I was learning everything about the world. Like I did astronomy, geography, mythology, anthropology. I did a bunch of music stuff. I did art stuff. I did baking. I did 3D printing. I did so much to get that degree. And it was all a lot of fun. I only picked classes that I thought would be fun. And there was only like four that were like super awfully stressful. Baking was insanely stressful. Art was super stressful. Hated those two. What else? 3D printing was fine, not that one. Oh yeah, the two summer courses I took to finish out my degree. There was one online. I think it was called interpersonal communication. That was stupid. I hated that. And then there was one which was I would have thought it would have been fun. You would think it'd be fun by the name. It was like introduction to game design. Well, turns out there's a lot of coding. And I knew this, right? The thing is, coding was not a prerequisite for the course. And the professor said, coding, you're not going to learn coding in this class. Like, this is not a class to teach you coding. But, like, he would teach you, like, what felt like 80 to 90% of the code. But, like, that last 10-20% was the most crucial part for actually making the thing work, which is what you needed to do, to complete the assignment and pass the class. So that's why I hated that class. Yeah, and I got a B and a C in those classes. It was awful. But yeah, so like two were only stressful, and they were still fun when they weren't stressful. These two were just kind of unfun and stressful, the two summer courses. So like out of the 60 hours that I took, it's about 3 hours per class. Only like 6 of them would have been unfun, which is 10%, right? So I got a whole degree, and 10% of the classes that I took were unfun. All of that to say, I think it would be a lot more fun to get 2 more degrees. And if a job offers tuition reimbursement, then I could do that, right? Because as you know, my entire goal in life is to have fun, as decided by 7-year-old me. And honestly, That's a perfectly fine goal. You guys ever heard of kava? It's technically a drug. I had never heard of it until I saw an ad on Snapchat, and I was like, "Is this just a drug?" It is, but it's like a really weak one. Like imagine weed, but like even weaker. And I just ordered some online. I still haven't tried it yet because I'm a little bit afraid to try it, but like I really want to. But like I don't have a shot glass to measure out, the exact amount. And also it's got this weird thing called a reverse tolerance, which I thought was fake. And then I saw videos on it, right? Because I thoroughly researched this drug before buying it. And yeah, it's real. It's called a reverse tolerance, where you need to take more of it the first time you have it, and then less of it in the future when you have it. So I was like, that's kind of cool, honestly. But like I said, I haven't tried it because I was like a little bit afraid. And then also I don't know how much to take with that reverse tolerance, so it's like, ah. So it's like there's a little bit of logistics to get this fun happening, but it's like I feel like if you get these logistics wrong, you could screw up everything. Probably not because, like I said, I did research, and everyone said, oh, the worst thing that happens if you like overdose on it is you just get kind of sleepy. You just go to sleep. And I was like, well, that sounds like, compared to alcohol, that sounds like a not the worst thing to happen to you, if you were to overdose on the kava. But yeah, I like learning and I like trying new things and I like having fun. I think that's about how much that did my yeah. I texted my manager and dad. They're the same person. And I was like, "Do we have tuition reimbursement at the company?" And he was like, "Nope." And I was like, "Oh, well, darn." So that like highly incentivizes me to go get another warehouse job that could potentially pay more because they advertised up to $22 an hour, right? So that could potentially pay more and give me free tuition reimbursement. That would be awesome, right? And in a city that I love, Kansas City. And that place freaking sucks. It's under construction all the time. The roadways are like this, and my car is like this, and it's like it's cool, but I live around there, which makes it way less cool, right? Like it's not a novelty. It's not cool. The roads are small. It's always under construction. It kind of stinks, figuratively. I can't smell very well, so I can't tell you how it smells. But it's like if anyone is like, oh, isn't Kansas City so cool? No. No, because I have to drive in Kansas City. And it sucks. That's why I don't like Kansas City. Lenexa, that's a nice city. I like that city. It's a moderate? It's a fairly modern city, so it's got the nice wide roadways, right? It's got parking. I don't know, man. Point is, I could get a better warehouse job. Tuition reimbursement. That's what I like. I like the sound of that. Yeah. I think it's time to get in the journal. Kind of a lot to talk about this week. Not really. I don't know. I was gonna keep this short, but then I was like, maybe I don't need to, because I am doing this at like 11:20, which is like 1 hour. No, wait, 50 minutes after when I was supposed to be going to bed. But I'll explain that later. Monday. I finally got back into the gym today. I did an arm workout, and I'm starting to take creatine too. I got to practice in on both instruments, and then went on a bike ride. So lots of physical activity today, which was fun. And that's about all. And then there's a quote, I know you're usually so nonchalant, but I need you to be chalant right now. Yeah, so that quote someone said to me in a dream. I don't know exactly who, because I can't remember the dream that well, but I was discussing something with my friend, and they're like, I know you're usually so nonchalant, but I really need you to be chalant right now. And as I'm sure most of you guys know, chalant is not actually a word. It was just some people started saying it after nonchalant got popular again. And it's like, well, what's the opposite of nonchalant? Of course, it must be chalant. Yeah, so that quote, some friend said to me in a dream. Can't remember which one, but it was funny. So I wrote it down. Yeah, so I took like at least an entire month off of the gym when I started that whole KU story arc, right? Which turned out to be a big bummer. So then when I got back into the gym, and I talked about this on the channel, my body just started like breaking down or something. I would get super lightheaded, nauseous, weak, and it was like awful. It was so awful when I would try and do what was my usual workout. So after trying that a couple of times and feeling absolutely terrible, I was like, okay, I'll get back into the gym. I'll keep the same intensity of workout, but I'll just make the rest intervals bigger, right? So I literally just tripled the rest intervals. I was like, maybe I should go with double, maybe like 1.5, you know, because they were 20 seconds between exercises. So I did 1 minute between exercises, and then it was 2 minutes between sets. Now it's 6 minutes between sets. Yeah, so tripled the rest period, but I kept that same intensity, which honestly, I'm happy with that. That day, Monday, I think it was a holiday, Memorial Day, Labor Day. I have it on my calendar. Labor Day. Yeah, Labor Day. I got that little arm workout in. I love working out arms. Let me just say that because with weights, I did weights. I mentioned that because I used to do calisthenics. But with arm workouts, I'm not. I don't feel like my life is in danger. With a lot of other workouts, I feel like my life is in danger. What I mean by that is if I'm doing bench press, right? If you drop the bar, you just die, man. It just kills you. It's gonna land on your chest or your neck, and your rib cage is gonna split clean in half, and then your organs are gonna come out, and you're gonna die in the gym. That's an exaggeration, but that's what my anxiety tells me is gonna happen if I don't get that bar up. And then it's even worse with squat and deadlift because if you fail squat, you just fold. You just fold like a long chair, like a lawn chair. You crumple under the pressure, literally, and die. Your back will bend the wrong way, and then like you're gonna be looking at your heels. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, and then with squat, it's deadlift. It's like, I guess it's not that bad. No, yeah, because you could fall forward and then just like your head goes, and then like how Zeus's head was split open whenever Athena came out of it in Greek mythology. That's what's gonna happen to your head. Except a god's not gonna come out of your head. It's gonna be your brain tissue, and you're gonna die. Um, anyway, that's why I like working out arms at the gym. Is because it doesn't feel like my life is in danger. So I just did curls, tricep extensions. I did like this thing. I think it's called the Arnold press, something like that. Yeah, and I did some of these. And then I call them Big Bird. So 3 sets of 10 of Big Bird, where you just do this with weights in your hands. Whenever I get like the max range of motion, which is like this, it feels like my organs are falling out of place inside me. It's not, it's really, really, really uncomfortable, but it's not painful. So I'm like, is this an issue? Should it be in it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, it's very uncomfortable. Like it feels like my organs are moving or something. Um, but it's not painful, and it's not like getting worse. And it's like, well, maybe I could just clench my core. No, it's like lower in my core. It's like my abdomen. So I don't know what's going on there. But the rest of the shoulder and arm workout was fun. So yeah, that's what I did on Monday. What else? Yeah, I started taking creatine because I heard it can have cognitive benefits in addition to muscle benefits. So I was like, yeah, might as well. Because I've thought about taking it for a while because it just seems like a no-brainer. It just seems like a net positive. All you have to do is like just stay hydrated while you're on it. And I did that starting Monday this week, and it's been going good. It might be affecting my sleep, which will get mentioned later in the journal. But yeah, I think that's all on Monday. I did practice both instruments. Still didn't get 4 on each, which is awful. But and I guess I'm already behind. Well, I'm not behind yet, but I might as well be. Yeah, I went on a bike ride. That was fun. That was about all. Tuesday, after work today, I immediately got online to play Helldivers because it got a huge update today, and it was super fun. I didn't do anything else today low-key, but it's okay because I'm going to send an email after this that's related to the main objective. A couple of my friends also felt a little slighted at work today, but I told them that that's really just part of the job, and it is. And then the quote is, great value, but at what cost? Because I got some, or not got some, there is great value oatmeal, instant oatmeal in my pantry. I don't know how it got there. I thought it was my sister and roommates, but she thought it was mine. So no idea how it got there, but it is there, and it does not taste good. It tastes bad. It tastes awful, actually. I don't like it. It tasted like watered down peaches, because it was like fruit and cream, instant oatmeal. I was like, this is just like, it's like you threw some peaches in some warm water and then put some oats on it. It did not taste good. So that comes out as great value, but at what cost? Because that stuff was awful. Yeah, like I said, Helldivers got a huge update. Lots of fun. Or lots of unfun. It's like, it's really just not fun because I'm making the game too hard by playing on the highest difficulty on one of the hardest planets that there is in the game. But honestly, the part that bothers me the most is that in that game, I always tailor my loadout so that I can kill every enemy and deal with every threat immediately, quickly, and efficiently, which is, how you win in war, which is what that game is in space. But with these new types of enemies like added to the game, the new planet that we're fighting on, the all-in-one build, I don't think it's real. I don't think it's possible. I've tried everything, but like the what's happening on that planet in game right now is just it's so different. This update changed the game so much, but like only on this one planet. Because like I said, it's on the one planet, right? The game is still 100% fun. It's just that right now I'm making it less fun, but I'm trying to see if it can be fun because that's what I like doing is running my build like that. But like just this the difficulty and the things you got to do it changed so much, so it's like I don't think there's a loadout that can kill everything anymore. And I think you're gonna have to rely on your teammates because it is a team-based game. You can have up to 4 people. But I was like, I don't trust these randoms, especially because a lot of them are newbies. Because like I think I mentioned this, it got added to Xbox recently, right? So I'm playing on the highest difficulty. Usually I'd be playing with the best players, right? But the Xbox players got on, and I'm not saying the Xbox players are bad. It's just that they're new, which means they're not as good. So now they're coming up here on my high difficulty missions, and they're dying all the time, left and right. They don't know what they're doing. I look at their builds, I'm like, what are you doing? This doesn't make any sense. Um, so yeah, so I can't really rely on my teammates. It'd be awesome if I had a friend to play it with, but like like I do and I don't. Like I bought it for like 4 or 5 friends, right? But like if I go over the list in my head real quick, none of them can play with me as often as I do. Um, so yeah, and I had one friend who because she had an Xbox. Turns out her Xbox is too old to run it or something. So I think I talked about that last week. But yeah, so it's not fun just because I can't win entirely by myself anymore. But yeah, that was Tuesday, or at least what happened on Tuesday. Anything else? Yeah, I did send that email. Oh yeah, and then my coworkers like some I think, man, I don't know if I want to get into this right now, but essentially, the crew got cut in half because one dude called out of work, or he wasn't called off, he was scheduled off, right? So the crew got cut in half, and then the half that was working over here was like, this is so unfair. We shouldn't be doing this all by ourselves. Well, and it's like, well, really, they're all over here because this one dude was scheduled off, which we knew about. So it's like it makes perfect sense that they're doing all the work that he usually does, and we're doing over here doing all the work that we usually do. And they're all like me 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 me. I'm like, guys, that's the job. That's what we do, and we still got out early at 4 p.m. We're scheduled here until 5. What are you complaining about? Um, and my manager and dad thinks the same way. But like that's the game. That's the business. Fair's fair. Even if it feels unfair, our crew is over here making up for the work that the one guy usually does. So we're over here doing what we usually do, like we usually do, and we still got out an hour early. So it's like, what are you doing? That was Tuesday. Wednesday, no luck on that email to UMKC, which is where I sent that email. They said that I had to submit an application to talk to one of their financial people, but I feel like that might be more effort than it's worth. I think I might look into diving next, or maybe consider college even more for next year. I'm also behind on my instruments now, but oh well. My friend's crashing out about our coworkers. It seems like she doesn't. What does it say? Oh, yeah. It seems like she doesn't know that she did anything wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she watches this. But I feel like she can just talk to me about it if she doesn't understand, because I don't want to explain it. Wait, do I want to explain it? No, I already explained it to her, actually. Just not in depth. Or no, I think I explained it as much as I did, but it was over text. So yeah. And then the quote is, "Don't let your fear control you." I can't remember why I said that. I think it was like a statement towards other people, but also towards myself. Because, like, sometimes, like, what happens is I fear this thing will happen, and then the stupidly naive and optimistic part of my brain says, no, don't let your fear control you. You should say what you want to say. And then I say what I want to say, and then my fears are confirmed. And I'm like, oh no, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen and fearing would happen when I did this. Um, so yeah, like, don't let your fear control you, but like at the same time, do. I don't know. Um, yeah, I sent an email to UMKC about financial aid, and they're like, yeah, if you want to talk to one of our advisors, you got to submit an application. I'm like, submit an application? That means that I gotta send the transcript, send an email, wait for that to come back to me, probably like go through several more emails, talk to advisors, and like if it's anything like the KU enrollment process, that's a whole lot of work, right? Like it just like it seems weird to get accepted into a college that I'm not going to, or just accepted into a college that I'm thinking about going to. It's like what all that just to talk to get a Zoom meeting with someone who's in their financial aid department. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's like I want to do all these things, like it's like all these things, but it's like you gotta take it a step back and then think about all the things that you need to get there, and it's like if I were for sure going to UMKC, yeah, I'd put in this much, right, and the final step would be that much. But it's like if I'm not going there, then I'm putting in this much for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting in 90% of the work to not go there, to just talk to their financial aid people. Um, so yeah, you know, still thinking about my career overall. Yeah, that was Wednesday. Thursday, this one was written at 12:36 a.m. The strangest thing has been happening over the last couple days. I'm simply not tired at the end of the day. Even as I'm writing this, hours after my usual bedtime, I'm not tired. I feel like I can was it? I feel like I can still do things. I feel like trying to sleep is useless. There's a typo in there. And I should just keep being productive until I crash, which is actually is what I'm doing. I wonder how long I can go for and how will I feel in the morning. And then the quote is, he's weird and he's square. And a square. Um, yeah, well, I want to correct that typo. Where'd my pen go? I really don't need to, but I really, really want to. Boop. Oh, well, that was bad. Okay. Yeah, so, really weird thing happened this week. Um, I want to say it was because I was taking the creatine, but I'm not entirely sure. But like, I just wasn't getting tired. I don't know if it was like, and like my caffeine intake was the same, but I just wasn't getting tired at the end of the day. And I couldn't really figure out why. Um, so like this week, I would stay up until like 10 p.m., 9 p.m. until like, I went to like 12 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 a.m. I just stopped going to sleep when I should have because I wasn't tired, and it going to sleep wasn't working. It just was I just wasn't sleeping, which wasn't actually an issue because I wouldn't feel awful in the morning either. Um, let me see. Let me go back to that. Yeah, like I would try to sleep for like 1 or 2 hours, and then it just wouldn't work. So what I do is I would just keep working and working and working, being productive, doing chores, until I got tired enough at like 12:36 a.m. to go to sleep. And I'm kind of doing that today. It's 11:36. I was feeling tired earlier, but I was like, man, I still want to put in the work for the main objective, and I still got to make my report. So I'm gonna, try and maintain the energy, stay strong, and do that. And I am. Uh, and I don't feel terribly tired. Definitely not as much as earlier. I was kind of winding down, but like I said, I like re re-upped myself so that I could do this. Um, yeah, cause I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it could be the creatine because that was really the only thing that's changed. But I've never heard of creatine like keeping you up at night. And then also like I would wake up after sleeping for like 5 or 6 hours, and I would be like, my brain and body would be like, okay, time to go, let's go, get up. I'm like, it's 5 in the morning. Where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? I don't know. Time to get up. No. Then I'd go back to sleep. I slept for like that happened today. I woke up at 5 in the morning, and I was like, I could be awake right now, but it's 5 in the morning. What am I gonna do? So I fell asleep until like 10. Um, yeah, and that happened like pretty much all week. Um, oh yeah, and the quote is, "He's weird and he's and a square." Apparently, allegedly, I don't know, but apparently my coworker said she heard our coworkers talking bad about me, and they said that I was weird in a square, and I was like, that's not entirely incorrect, if I'm being honest. I am sitting here talking to a camera. I was honestly kind of thinking that I would get 0 views on the last 2 videos, but then I didn't, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Because like I want to share this with everyone, and at the same time, I want to share this with no one, because it would bring me a lot of comfort to know that no one's seeing these, but it would also like be kind of sad because it's like, oh, I'm just kind of here and like no one's even witnessing my existence, which is kind of the point of these. Um, but yeah, how did that relate to the weird square quote? I don't know. Yeah, but apparently my coworker said I was weird and square, and I was like, that's correct. That's absolutely right, sir. That's I could be called worse things. You know what I'm saying? Friday, in quotes, 12:49 a.m. I'm still under the effects of whatever strange spell is making me feel happy, optimistic, and less tired. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. I literally just felt happier and optimistic while not being tired. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? I think it was because after like sending that one email and getting like an actual response and just knowing that I am capable of controlling my future was just it just felt very empowering, I guess. So I was just super optimistic about like what I could do with my life. And like even looking at those jobs, I was getting super hyped looking at those maritime jobs, even if I can't actually get them, which could be cool. But like I said, those warehouse jobs sounded pretty sweet. Even if I do leave the current factory to go to another one, tuition reimbursements sounds pretty sweet. It's honestly like it's almost a no-brainer. Um, yeah, so I'm still in the effects of the spell. That's pretty cool. Today after work, I went straight to my friend's house so that me and my friend could go on a run and play Splatoon. We didn't actually do much running, but it was still a lot of fun. Once I got home, I made a smoothie for dinner and played Silk Song before finishing out the day with a shower. And then the quote is, "Did creatine cure my depression?" Because that's kind of what it felt like. I just felt like I had energy and I felt happy and I felt like I could do things. Like it felt like the world was not so bad and not so dark, and everything was not so hard, pretty much. So yeah, great outlook to have. Um, yeah. So I went on a run with my friend. The plan was to go on a run, but she told me this maybe a dozen times beforehand. She was like, "Oh, I'm not very actually athletic. Won't be able to run for the whole time. We have to take breaks, yada yada." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And yeah, we went on like I think it was like probably an hour there and back approximately, and we ran for like 20% of the time, which is fine. To me, progress is progress because she said she likes running. It's just that she has like no stamina. She runs out of breath really quickly. I was like, okay, we'll go as fast as you want, and then we'll take as many breaks as you need. And then, yeah, like I said, we ran for about like 20% of 2 hours, which is not a lot. But hey, that's progress. It was still a lot of fun. It's still good quality time with my friend, which was a lot of fun. And also, I wanted to get in a workout that day, and that counted, I guess. So yeah. Saturday, yesterday, I was a little productive today. I did laundry and caught up on piano a little bit. Other than that, I've just been gaming all day. I should also mention that AJR released their new EP yesterday, and it would be remiss of me to not mention it. Especially because I listened to it on loop literally all day yesterday. I really like it. I really need to look into the main objective, and I will do that tomorrow, which I did. And the quote is, "The sink is still clogged." Yeah, so HAR did release their new EP yesterday. I really like it. I was playing it on loop literally all day, and I think I listened to it at least once or twice today as well. It's kind of cool because actually I won't talk about it. I won't talk about it. No one wants to hear about that, if I'm being honest. I'm pretty sure I know who the two viewers in the last two episodes were, and I'm pretty sure they don't give a flip about AJR. But yeah, I just wanted it was worth mentioning. They are my favorite band, whether I like it or not. Okay. Yeah, that's where I said I wrote that part down at the end of the entry. I will do that tomorrow. I told myself yesterday that I will do it today, and I did do it today because I didn't want to check in and be like I didn't do it today because I feel like there was a lot of that in the past series arc of this series. Yeah, and then the quote is the sink is still clogged. So for like maybe all week or something, the kitchen sinks in the apartment have been either like clogging, as in they drain really slowly, or clogged entirely. We had two. At first, they were both draining slowly. Then one clogged entirely, and then one was draining slowly, and then they both clogged entirely. And I was like, oh no, because my sister and roommate was putting in maintenance requests. Nothing was happening. I looked in the sink; it's full of water. I can't see down in the middle, but I can see there's water, which means water's not going down. Sink's clogged. So I got an email. I checked the date, and it was back in July about emergency maintenance request procedures. And then she was like, the email was like, call our AI assistant, and then she'll try and help you. And then I thought the AI assistant would be like, what's the issue? How do I help? And then I would be like, maintenance request, thanks clogged. And she's like, okay. And then she started trying to tell me how to do it myself. And I was like, I'm 99% sure that both sinks are entirely clogged right now, and there's nothing I can do about it. And then the AI assistant is like, well, let's see, sink clogs are pretty common. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what, whatever. Because, like I said, it was the weekend, right? This was today, actually, that I called the AI assistant about the clogged sinks. And, like, it was just, I think it was yesterday, that both clogged entirely. Or at least I thought they did, right? But both clogged entirely. The water was not going down in either sinks. It was a mess. So I called the line, and then the AI assistant came on. She was like, try this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there's no way that's working. And then she was like, okay, try this. I said, that's not going to work. She said, try this. I was like, whatever. So I put on my rubber gloves, and I stick my hand in the sink that's for sure clogged, the one on the left. And I stick my hand in the drain, and it stops. It doesn't go in the drain. And I was like, that's weird. I could have, like, because I only saw the water on top, I would have assumed that it was entirely clogged. I stick my hand in there, it doesn't go in the drain. I'm like, there's something in here. It's taking up the entire width of the drain. So what I have to do is, it feels like some kind of plastic dish. What I do is I actually stick it further into the drain, right? But that creates enough space, right? Because it's essentially like this. Like, this is what the sink looks like, kind of, right? So it's like up here in this little area. That's where the dishes go. And then there's like this sort of like cavernous area, like right here. And then that's where that's just a chamber, I guess. And then it goes down into the drain. So I shove it into the chamber, and then it actually creates a space, so then the water starts going, and I was like, oh, well, great. Because there was literally still water in the sink, man. It was gross. And then I was like, okay, let me try the next one. I tried the next one. There was just food blocking it. It still drains kind of slowly, but there was just food blocking the drain, which you couldn't see through the red swamp of soup that I had poured in there the other day. That would be my bad. But I unclogged both the sinks. I say unclogged because it's not really that they were clogged, it's just there was something in the way, which I didn't know until I stuck my hand in there. So yeah, I didn't have to, because I didn't want to put in the request with certainty and be like, the sink is clogged and I have tried everything. Because I had not actually tried everything. And that's what I do, is I do not ask for help until I have tried everything. If I can't do it myself, then I ask for help. Otherwise, I can do it. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then it worked. Go figure. So yeah, that's where the quote, the sink is still clogged, comes from. The sink being clogged for like all week. Turns out it wasn't. There was just a thing in the way. And that leads us to today. Yeah, I really didn't do a lot today. I did work out. Did get a workout on. Technically fourth workout of the week, which is what I like to go for. And then I actually bought breakfast and lunch because, like I said, I thought the sinks were clogged. And you kind of need water to make food, because I was like, I'll make spaghetti. Nope, that needs water. I was like, I'll boil some hot dogs. That needs water. I was like, okay, I can get water from the sink and then put it in the water boiler to make oatmeal. But then I'll need water to clean out the bowl that I ate the oatmeal in. And I was like, shoot. So I pretty much, and I was like, okay, I'll make a sandwich. None of that needs water, except I'll need water to clean the knife that I used to put the mayonnaise on the bread. So pretty much everything needs water. But that's not a problem anymore, because the sink works now. But yeah, so I got the work. Oh yeah, I had 2 McGriddles for breakfast, which is kind of a big deal, because my entire life, I have never been able to eat more than 2 McGriddles at the same time. I don't know why. It was like a fundamental law of the universe until today. I had 2 McGriddles, or bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles, I should specify, and I was still hungry afterwards, so yeah, that's cool, I guess. And then after the workout, I got Smoothie King. I got the giant 44 ounce, which is good. And I think I was still hungry after that, so I had like oatmeal. Yeah. Um, Still kind of hungry like right now, honestly. But it's 11:47 p.m. on a Sunday, and I have work in the morning, so not exactly prime time for dinner. Uh, and then after that, I think I just played video games, and I kept playing video games because they were a lot of fun. Yeah, but I didn't want to check in and be like, guys, I didn't do it again, because I did do it, and I'm working on it, and it'll get done eventually. And that's today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.